Hello everyone, welcome to my dorm room. Since I am a college student, I'm thinking I'm going to do a dorm room yoga series with multiple videos, all different types. But today we are going to start off for a yoga video that you can do in your dorm when you're not feeling so great, or you're feeling sick, or you're feeling stressed out. It's great if you've been taking it easy and you haven't been feeling well, to help just stretch out the muscles and start moving again, or if you haven't been feeling well and have still been doing stuff, to really start to relax and take care of your body. It's great because I know it's hard when you're away from home and you're in your dorm room and sick and there isn't much room. And this series is going to be great because you can do it on a towel, you can do it on a rug, you can do it on a blanket. I've used towels or rugs when I go to hotels. I'm going to be doing a yoga mat, but feel free to use whatever you have. These videos are meant to be things that you can do in a dorm room, and this one is for stuff you could do when you're not feeling well in your dorm room. So I hope you feel better, and we're going to get into it. Okay, so we are going to come to our mat, start off in seated pose or the pose of ease, and just breathe for a moment or two to get adjusted. Sit here, be here in this moment with where you're at and where your body is at right now. You can roll the shoulders back, and then we'll start to move the head to the left, starting to get a nice stretch in the neck. And then we'll inhale back up and start to bring the head over to the right side. Bring the ear to the shoulder and not going any farther than it feels comfortable. And then we'll inhale back up to center. Roll the shoulders back, maybe smile a little bit. And then we are going to move to all fours. And from all fours, we're going to take it back to child's pose. You can bring your knees as wide as the mat if you'd like. Start to walk the hands forward. Start to get a nice stretch in the back body. It is totally okay if your butt does not reach your heels. Just be where you're at today. Start to release anything that's no longer serving you. Maybe move your head from left to right to massage the temples. And then we're going to start to move into drunk cat-cow, moving to the right first. And we're going to arch our spine like we do in cow and then like we do in cat, while moving in a circle. So you're coming forward, up, and back, arch that spine. Forward, up, and back. This is great. Feel free to move around in a place that feels good. If you find anywhere that catches, this is awesome for the hips. And then we're going to reverse directions once you feel comfortable. And feel free to just hang out in child's pose if this is not something that you want to do today. It is totally okay to do whatever you feel like because you are not feeling well today. And we're going to do one more wherever we're at and come back to child's pose for just a moment. Release anything. Maybe bring the palms above the head in a peaceful pose of grace and gratitude for this moment where you're at. And we're going to release the hands and come back up to all fours. Walk the palms back. And then we're going to move into cat-cow. So we're going to inhale to cow, release our belly to the ground, release our tailbone up, and then exhale to cat. Moving to the rhythm of your own breath. Whatever feels good, find any motion that feels good today. And then we're going to return to tabletop. And we are going 2. Release our elbows down to the ground where our hands were, and start to walk the legs back into heart to earth pose. So you want your elbows underneath your shoulders, palms out in front, and you want your arms to be like railroad tracks with your legs, so straight in line. And then we're starting to release the head to the ground. It's totally okay if it doesn't reach the mat. This is an awesome pose of surrender. Surrendering to how you're feeling in this moment, how your body is feeling, how your day has gone, how everything is in this moment. Just take a few breaths to surrender. And we're going to inhale, come up and forward into Sphinx pose. Roll those shoulders back, engage the back body, press into those arms. Keep them as parallel as possible. Roll the shoulders back and feel this nice stretch. And then we're going to push back. And we're going to come into a downward facing dog if you feel like it. If you don't feel like that, if you feel like that would be too much pressure on your head because you're feeling sick, feel free to go to child's pose. But if you'd like to, we're just going to take one downward dog, stretch out the legs, get a good, nice stretch. Maybe move the tailbone from left to right. And then we're going to come back to our knees, back to tabletop position. And then we are going to inhale the left leg up, and then we're going to bring it up into pigeon pose. So feel free, if this is too uncomfortable for you, to stay in all fours or just stay with the leg extended. But you're going to bring your knee up and make sure not to rock onto that left hip. You want to stay up like your hips are parallel. And feel free to come down as far as you would like. You can stay up, you can come to your forearms, you can come to your fists, or maybe even your palms, wherever it feels comfortable for you. You're working to make that knee close to 90-degree angle, but it is totally okay if that foot is right under you still. This is an awesome hip stretcher, but you want to be very careful with it. And try and keep both feet engaged to protect the joints. This can be a very harmful position, so we just want to come into it mindfully and stop if you feel any pain, any tension, or anything, especially because you're sick today and you don't need anything else on your plate. So now, if you're in this pose, we can start to come out. So maybe you slowly move out of the positions you took, and we're going to all meet up with our chest out. And then we can roll over to that hip and swing that over leg around to cow pose. Now, if this is not comfortable for you, again, we do not want to push at all. This is one option. Another option would be coming to like a fire log position, like I'm doing on the screen, a more modified version, not as your knees not as close together. But if cow, or just Sukhasana, or just seated pose, take whatever pose feels good for you. But if cow is that pose, then we're working on bringing our knees close together. It is totally okay if they're not, but that is just what we're working towards. And here we're just going to release into this awesome hip stretcher, maybe paying attention to those feet, giving them a little massage for all the work they do to us. Our sweet, sweet feet. Rolling the shoulders back, finding any movement that feels good. Make sure not to push, but to just enjoy this awesome hip stretch and stay grounded in your base. You can come forward if you'd like, do a little forward fold, release the head, neck, the shoulders. Maybe you touch your knee, maybe you don't. We're going to start to roll back up. Maybe walk the hands behind, get a nice chest stretch in. And then we are going to start to come out of it mindfully. So mindfully take your right leg off, and we're going to come back to all fours and do this on the other side. So if you want to inhale the right leg out and then bring it up into pigeon pose, keeping that right foot engaged, finding your pigeon pose. As long as you're not falling down on that hip, you want to stay up and keep your hips in line. Maybe you're walking down to the forearms. Maybe you're walking your head to your fist. Or maybe you're staying up. That is an awesome pose too. What other hip stretch feels good to you? And maybe you're releasing to the hands. This is an awesome release in the hips. A pose to help ground you. Feel yourself on the earth in this moment. So close. Just releasing anything that is no longer serving you, you're annoyed with, that's stressing you out. And you don't have to ID it. You can just release it. Just release that emotion, that feeling. And only stay here as long as it is comfortable. If it gets uncomfortable for you, feel free to go back to all fours or child's pose. This is your practice. You can do whatever you want to as long as you're not hurting yourself and you're moving mindfully. Yoga is not about the poses. It's about the mentality and what it helps us do in the rest of our life. Not about the poses we reach on the mat. It's about finding peace and balance and strength. Okay, you can start to come up how you came into it if you'd like, or return to whatever pose you like. And then we're going to roll over to that hip, swing that left leg around, and come in to your cow pose or your fire log pose or even Sukhasana if that's good for you. Whatever you would like. Or maybe just like a modified pose, maybe a fire log pose, whatever pose feels good for your knees, your hips, your body today in this moment. But if cow pose is what that feels good, we're working to bring the knees together, but not pushing. Just that's the ultimate goal. Maybe we're massaging the feet, giving them a little bit of love for all the things they've done for us today. Maybe smiling, embracing this moment. Sickness can be great because it can give us a moment to rest and be easy on ourselves and just be thankful for the rest of the time. Feel free to roll forward if you like to fold forward, bringing your head close to your knee, or just releasing your head, neck, and shoulders. We're working on releasing today, releasing any stress or frustration that comes along with being sick, especially when you're away from home, maybe it's near finals or whatever. And then we're going to roll back up, roll the shoulders back, and mindful. Walk the hands behind the shoulders, get a nice chest stretch if you would like. Walk them as far back as feels comfortable for you. Trace this moment. Then we're going to mindfully come to a seated position on our mat. And we are going to extend the legs, shake them out. And then we are going to bring the right leg in. We're going to come into a forward fold on one side, but reaching the chest forward so that we're really coming from the hips rather than the waist and just folding forward. So come from the chest forward first to get a better stretch, and then if you'd like to release your hands down, that's fine. And place your hands wherever you feel good and release your head down. Whether at the knee, at the calf, at the foot, wherever that feels best for you. And then you can fold forward if you'd like. This is an awesome stretch. Again, we're just working on releasing and being in this moment. A lot of times we're just frustrated with our body that it's sick rather than spending time with it and realizing why it might have gotten sick, what our body wants us to know. And we're going to roll back up. And then we are going to bring that left foot in to butterfly pose or coddler's pose. Your feet together, you might have learned this is butterfly pose. Maybe you massage those feet again, giving them some love. Maybe you hold at the ankles and inhale. Engage your core muscles. Sit up. Maybe open those feet like a book. And maybe you start to fold forward. That feels good. Maybe you stay upright. Maybe you clasp around the toes, whatever position feels good. Maybe you fold forward if that feels good for you today. And it's okay wherever you're at. This is an awesome hip stretcher again. Release. You can flap your legs like a butterfly if you would like to add some joy to your practice. Breathe. Don't forget to breathe in these stretches. Pay attention to your breath. Maybe start to let your mind wander and do whatever it would like. Start to release the stress. Release stuff from your day. And then maybe inhale up. Return to butterfly pose. And then we are going to extend the right leg and the left leg. Shake them out, and then we'll bring that left leg back in. And we're going to do the same stretch on the right side. So coming forward, keeping our chest up as long as possible to start from the hips rather than the waist, and then folding forward when it feels good for you. And placing your hands wherever it is best to place them today. This is called head to knee pose, but it is totally okay if your head doesn't reach your knee. Mine doesn't reach my knee. Totally okay wherever you're at. Just breathe. We're going to inhale back up. Roll the shoulders back. Extend that other leg. Shake them out. And then we are going to come onto our back. Maybe do some rolling if you'd like to roll up and down to get a nice spinal stretch. Add some fun and play into our day. And then we're going to come back onto our back. Hug those knees into the chest. Nice back stretch. Maybe point and flex the toes. Do some circles with the ankles. Maybe roll the hips one way and then the other. We're just finding what feels good here on our back. Just seeing what movements feel good. We're going to hug those knees back into the chest. Extend our arms. Maybe you do a T formation. I know we're doing dorm room yoga and that's what I have to do. And we're going to bring the knees over to the left side. And a nice reclined twist. You can bring the left arm up onto the knees if you'd like to deepen that twist. And then we're going to come back up to center. Inhale to center. I'm readjusting, which is the dorm room part. And then we'll release to the right side. This is an awesome modification to just make cactus arms with your arms so that they don't have to be extended because you might run into stuff. There's plenty of stuff in your dorm room to run into. You're releasing. Awesome twist. Breathing. You can move more swiftly if you'd like, or you can take these extended twists on both sides. And then we're going to inhale back up to center. Roll from side to side if that feels good. And flex the toes. And then we're going to come to happy baby pose. So you can bring the hands to the inner arches, or take your 2 fingers, loop around that big toe, or to the outer arches. This is really a pose where it's just meant to feel good, feel comfortable. Stretch out the legs, maybe extend one leg and then the other. This is awesome for the hips. Awesome to add some playfulness and cheeriness on what could be a dreary day if you're sick, but maybe it's a chill and relaxing day. Then we're going to release those feet to the ground. Walk the feet out to the edges of your mat and let your knees fall in together. You can lay your hands on your stomach and maybe bring your hands up overhead. This feels awesome. It's almost like hugging your head, just releasing, coming into your own, focusing on yourself. Feels really awesome on the forehead. Rocks out the light. We're starting to move into our shavasana, starting to come into a pose of rest and ease. We're going to have some extra resting time today because this is for when you're sick and you need extra rest. Maybe release those hands down to cactus arms if you would like, opening up the chest, finding whatever position feels good for you. And then just letting go. And then maybe you bring the feet together and come to reclined coddler's pose or recline the butterfly pose we did earlier. That feels awesome. Just finding a nice restorative pose that feels good for you today, where you can reap the benefits of the practice you have just had. And you can really rest and start to let yourself release. Maybe you extend the right leg followed by the left, followed by the right arm and then the left arm into shavasana. And you roll the shoulders back. And then we're just going to take a minute to release. Feel free to stay here as long as you want, as long as you can, in this awesome pose of release and surrender. Just let the mind wander. Meditating isn't about the absence of thoughts. We're humans. We continue to think. It's about not getting attached to our thoughts. So don't attach yourselves to what you have to do, why your sickness is getting in the way of that. Just let those thoughts go. It's okay if you think them, just don't hold on to them. Feel free to relax and release as long as you can. Thank you for practicing with us today. Namaste.